For today's video, I'm going to be analysing a game I played. It was a 24-hour game, so we both had a lot more time to think, and it's a lot higher standard than what I usually play at. So you can see I got 93% accuracy, they got 90%. They resigned after the 53rd move, so to get 93% accuracy at my level over 53 moves, I think is quite good. So I thought we'll go back, have a look at what went well, what I should have done better, and if we can replicate it in the future. So yeah, I got one great move, 25 bests, he got the same. I got 12 excellence, they got 13. We both had 6 good moves, both had 6 book moves. All I had was one mistake. They just had one inaccuracy and one blunder. So it should be a good one to analyse. So recently I've been trying to do the London. I've only watched 1 or 2 videos on it, so I'm very new to it. But obviously the idea is to bring the pawn out, the bishop out, then you develop the knights and the supporting pawns. So very standard stuff. As you can see, it's all book moves, just developing the pawns around it. Now we bring the knight. And here's a move that I actually learned off Levy. It was one of Levy's videos I was watching. He said, so if they push with the bishop, if you slide the bishop back and they take it, you take with the pawn on h2 and your rook then has the free open file. So that's exactly what I've done. He's put pressure with the bishop, I've slid back. So just trying to stick to what Levy was showing. And another one here, he said if they push down and attack with that pawn, the idea is you just ignore that and continue your development. So again, I'm going to do exactly what he says. I'm not going to be, forced into taking it. I'll let him make the first move. I'm just going to continue my development, backing up the pawns of defence. They castle, which is the last book move, so okay. I now push this pawn, which it says it's okay, it's not great. So it wanted me to develop the knight out early. But my thinking was if I push this pawn, I'm then free to get the bishop out without it being pressured. So it was a little tactic I had. Maybe it wasn't the best tactic, but hey-ho. But here we go. So they push with the bishop, and as Levy says, take with the pawn. Now my rook has a free file, which to that king in the corner, which is castled near side, that's looking pretty threatening. So they push a pawn. Is that just to give an escape square? I'm not too sure. But okay, they push a pawn. It's not brilliant. I think it wanted them to develop a queen. Yeah, so once the queen's come out, instead they push a pawn, which I guess is fairly passive. So that's probably why it's only good, not great or excellent. Now I bring the bishop. So this is why I developed the pawn to b3. So I can now bring my bishop, and if it gets pressured, I can take with a pawn. So they're only good moves, they're not great or anything. I think so it wanted me to take with the pawn there, but instead I brought the bishop. And to be fair, the pawn is free, so maybe I should have taken a bit more time, seen the free pawn, and taken advantage of it. But again, because I was trying to just stick to my tactic, do the London, I've missed a free pawn there. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just one of those things where I guess I need to not just do it off memory and actually play what's in front of me. They push another pawn, which again is pretty passive. I think, so it wants him to bring the knight out, whereas bringing the pawn out doesn't do too much. So it's fine, but it's not brilliant. Now I bring my knight out, which is what it wanted me to do a few moves ago. So we're near enough there, we're just a little bit slow off the mark. They now bring a queen. So they're attacking my pawn on c3, so I defend here. It wanted me to just bring the knight out. And to be fair, I was looking at that knight. And again, this also came from one of Levy's videos. He said, if you can get the knight to e5, do so. So I had that in my mind, and I remember at the time I was looking at this move a lot, but I just thought, let's play it safe. While he's attacking the pawn, I'll defend the pawn. I can still put the knight to e5 if I want down the line. So that's why, again, I was a move too slow, I think. Now they bring the knight out, which of course stops me bringing my knight out for now, unless I want to take with the pawn and damage the structure. So instead I just push this pawn here, and the idea is I can now develop the b3 pawn to b4 and kick the queen out. He sees it coming and moves back anyway. I continue as planned. And instead of taking, okay, this was a good move, I wasn't expecting this. I thought he'd have to take the pawn and I could open up another file for the other rook. But instead he pushes on and hits my bishop. So we need to slide back. So there we go, we get to a nice safe square. And he comes with one of his pawns. Okay, so that kind of locks it in there. So it's a bit of a stalemate in the middle. So I think a bit of a problem we're going to have is trying to break this sort of pawn structure down. But I push up here, hoping he'll take. Then I can get the rook involved and just try to break those pawns up. But he doesn't want to do it, and so he develops a bishop out. Nice, so the rooks are connected, so that's always good. And again, this whole time, the evaluation bar is pretty much dead even here. So I now take. After he takes back, the rooks are now looking at each other. So I could either rook swap now, or potentially castle, bring my queen in to help defend it if he wants to attack. So I slide my queen across. It's not the best move. They wanted me to castle instead, but I guess the idea was similar. So I wasn't a million miles off. By me bringing my queen in, if he takes my rook, I take straight back. So okay, it's not the way they wanted me to do it. They wanted me to castle first, but I think the idea is close enough. Now he comes with the rook, so of course I need to slide out the way. And of course he can't hit my king, because if he brings the rook down, my queen takes it. So as it says out, it was the best move there, so not bad. Okay, he develops a bishop. Solid choice apparently, nice. Now our castle. So again, it's I'm about 1 or 2 moves behind what he wants me to do, but the thought is still there. And I was a bit hesitant to castle before this, to be honest, because I just didn't want to castle too early, and then, for example, the queen comes down, one of the rooks comes down, and I get trapped in the corner. So now our castle's off the board. There's only one, sorry, castle, rook, you know what I mean. Now one rook's off the board. I think we're safe to do it up there. He comes with the queen, and obviously this is now looking slightly more menacing. So I need to watch what I do here. But I now think this might be a good time to go for the e5 square, and it thinks it's the best move. And my thinking here was we hit the bishop, which is hanging. If they take with my knight, I can take straight back. So, but they don't. Instead, they hit my queen. And of course, if I take back with my queen here, I'm thinking he gets his rook in and is hitting my weak knight. So I don't really want to do that. So instead, we bring it back. So of course, defended by my other rook there. Now he takes my knight, we take back, okay. And of course we're hitting his knight, so he's going to have to move. And he does jump in here. Okay, and a few options are going through my head here, but I decided to take with my knight, which obviously means my bishop is hanging via his queen, although that looks like a bit of a sticky situation for him. I don't know if that'd be a risky move, you know. So he does what's probably the safer of the 2 moves and takes the knight. Nice. I now defend that bishop with the rook. Okay, he slides the rook down, and this is where my mistake comes from. So I had a little tactic here, whereas if I put the rook in, and he takes the bishop, like so, which is a blunder, I hit there with a great move, hitting his king. Of course, he has to move the king out the way, but we take the rook. So that tactic there, the game didn't like it too much initially, because it thought it was a mistake. However, after he takes the bishop, it's check and we were in the rook. So I thought that was a pretty good tactic, and that is the thing that won me the game, because so far I've been dead even, the evaluation bar dead even, neither of us have really made a mistake, and I saw this opening, I saw this tactic, and it worked. So this is, I think, the thing that kept me in the lead. So I'm now thinking, right, I've won the rook, all I now need to do is avoid the checks, stay in control, don't lose out on that, piece I just won, basically. So he hits me in check. I go to the side. It's a forced move. I can't control that. Comes down with a bishop. Very nice. But I'm thinking up here, is there checkmating threats I can get up here? So I'm bringing the queen up. The rook's up there. His king's in a corner. Can I find checkmate, basically? He positions the queen up top. So I think he's looking about going for the perpetual checks and forcing a draw here, which would get me a little bit nervous, because of course if he slides the queen up to h5, I'll be in check. You're going to slide it back down to d1, and again it'd be check. So I need to try and stop this perpetual checking, and that's where I find this move here. So if he slides up to h5, fine, but my queen has sight on d1, so he can't check me again down there. So I think I've avoided that danger. So I'll avoid this check, of course, but he now can't go all the way down, so I think I'm safe there. So I'm thinking, right, I can't get checkmated or a forced perpetual check draw, so how can I now get off those extra pieces and try to get down to an endgame? So this is where I attack the weak pawn that is now hanging. This can't be defended unless he shifts the bishop up right now. So he moves the king out the way. Again, it's a fair move. It's not the best. It wanted the pawn instead, but it's close enough at this level, I think. So now I take the free pawn. So I've got a passed pawn, which is always good. He comes, and this is an inaccuracy. So what did it want? It wanted a check again, basically. And instead they've gone for a queen trade. I'm thinking, is this risky? And this is where I start to calculate. So if I take with my queen, as I do, apparently it's the best move anyway, they take back. There's basically no way he can get there before me. So I could either move the rook out to a5, down and across, or I could bring the king in. Either way, I think I stop before he promotes. So I move the king across just to be safe. He comes with a pawn. Okay, I don't think he has too many free moves, to be honest. That's probably as good as it gets. I can now push my pawn. So again, I'm just slowly working on going up the field, attacking that bishop, kicking that out, developing the pawns closer to promotion. He brings the king inside. Again, excellent move, but again, very limited to what he can do here. Now I bring my king across. So anytime he tries to push that pawn, I'll take it, basically. And I'm on a dark square, so his bishop can't hit me. Another pawn. Okay, to be honest here, I think I'll just take, reduce it. It says it's the best move. I was purely just thinking, you know, that pawn's undefended. If he's hitting it, let's just take the piece. Comes to the king, nice. And now I bring my rook across, which is apparently the best move. I'm just trying to get my, you know, pawn, the pass pawn to promotion. So I move the rook to the side, again on a dark square, so it can't be hit by the bishop. Okay, he brings the bishop up. No worries, I can now slide down. So that takes another pawn out the game, which makes another pass pawn. So this really is now just a question of, can I convert this efficiently? So he's hitting me, but of course we can slide to the side. Again, dark square, can't be hit. He pushes the king up. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. Is the king trying to come up and around and stop the pass pawn? I don't think there's anything he can really do to stop it here, to be honest, because again, straight away, rook's in, hit that pawn. He now comes to the king, but okay, I can hopefully force a trade here. Okay, he's not worried, but we'll take anyway. He takes back, and now looking at the pieces, it's, you know, I've got so many more pawns. I'm a rook to a bishop. All I need to do is play this safely. So I come under, ready to take the pawn. Of course, okay, now he now defends, he now attacks my other pawn, but okay, I'll happily trade a pawn for a pawn. Oh, but he's not interested, okay, hits me in check. So I've just got a free pawn out of that. Right, no worries. But I can defend the king, and then that gives me space to push my other pawns. So, okay, so it was good, not the best. Right, so I wanted me to slide the rook underneath. Okay, but instead I've kicked his bishop out. He now hits my rook, which means, okay, so this is where I do some calculations. So I thought this was big brain stuff here. So he hits my rook, and I worked out, actually, if I just push and he takes the rook, he can't stop me getting a queen. Turns out he spots it and comes back down. But now I can slide the rook across like it wanted me to 2 or 3 moves ago. Comes to the king, but of course I'm defended, and now I kick him out the way with my pawn, obviously the rook defending it. So he gets kicked out the way. Slide across. So the king's safe, which means now I can push that extra pawn. And this is where he resigned the game. Okay, very nice. And after the game, it's given us a rating of 1,650 to 1,500, which obviously I'm, 940, I believe, at the minute. So the fact I played like a 1,650 did, with a 93% accuracy. Oh, sorry, this is 95 after the review, but it was 93, basically. And he played like a 1,500. I just thought that was one of the best standard games I've ever played. So I thought I'd share it. And it's always good to look at the review. I don't often do that. But it's reassuring to see that I was playing all the correct moves, just maybe 1 or 2 moves too slow. But some of the ideas I had were definitely what the computer agrees with. So I think we're on the right trajectory. So hopefully I'll be able to hit that 1,000 elo soon.